What if you could look back at your life, every single part of it, and not just accept it, but actually love it? Today, we're diving into a really radical idea that could totally change how you see everything that's ever happened to you. It's the powerful and, yeah, kind of controversial concept of Amor Fati. So, this whole thing really kicks off with this challenge from the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. And let's be crystal clear, he is not talking about just gritting your teeth and tolerating things. No, he is proposing something way more extreme, that you should actively want your life, every win and every disaster, exactly as it happened. It's a wild, audacious claim, so let's really dig into what he meant by that. All right, so what is this thing, Amor Fati, exactly? Let's break down the power behind loving your fate and why Nietzsche thought it was the secret sauce for a truly great life. Okay, so the literal translation from Latin is love of fate, but it's about so much more than that. It's a philosophy of embracing everything, and I mean everything that happens to you, not just the good stuff. It's this deep belief that the triumphs, the heartbreaks, the wins, and even the brutal losses, they were all necessary pieces that made you who you are. And we're talking about a really deep kind of love here. Like loving your cringiest mistakes, your most painful struggles, yeah, even your suffering. The idea is that you wouldn't change a single thing, because if you pulled out just one event, no matter how awful it was, the whole tapestry of who you've become would just unravel. Every single thread counts. Now here's a super important point, because this is where people get it twisted. Amor Fati is not about being a doormat. It does not mean you just lie down and let the world roll over you, accepting injustice or staying stuck. It's the complete opposite. It's an active mindset. It's about looking at your entire life as your raw material and saying, okay, I'm going to use all of this to build something. So how does that actually work? Well, think of it like alchemy. You take the raw material of your pain and you don't just endure it. You forge it into strength. Your failures aren't just screw-ups anymore. They become the very source of your wisdom. The limits you run up against aren't just walls. They force you, they demand you to become more creative. You're turning it all into fuel. So really drive this home, Nietzsche came up with this pretty intense thought experiment he called the eternal recurrence. So imagine a demon appears and tells you that you have to live your exact same life. Every joy, every sorrow, every boring Tuesday, over and over again for all of eternity. No changes. Would you be horrified? Or could you look that demon in the eye and say, bring it on? For Nietzsche, being able to say yes to that is the ultimate test. But hold on a second. Is it really that simple? Is loving your fate always the right move or even a healthy one? It's time we look at the other side of the coin and make the case against a pure version of Amor Fati. The first big problem is that this philosophy can easily and dangerously slide into romanticizing suffering. It can start to make pain seem like this noble, beautiful thing we should all want. And that's a really slippery slope. Because let's be real for a minute, not all pain is a beautiful lesson. Some pain just breaks things. Severe trauma can leave permanent scars. Systemic poverty isn't some character-building exercise. It crushes opportunity, and deep injustice can absolutely destroy human potential. To tell someone they should love these things feels like you're completely ignoring the real, devastating harm they cause. And that brings us right to the next big issue. If everyone just loves their fate, then who's left to fight for a better world, right? Who's going to stand up and challenge oppressive systems or fix broken institutions? A whole society that fully buys into Amor Fati could become a society that just accepts things that absolutely need to be changed. And this third critique is a huge one. Amor Fati kind of pretends that everyone is playing on a level field. It acts as if we all start from the same place, and we know that's just not true. The simple truth is, fate is not distributed fairly. Some people are born into war, others into safety, some into wealth, others into poverty. So telling someone whose life has been shaped by systemic oppression to just love it isn't just unhelpful, it can feel like a profound insult, like you're blaming them for things they had absolutely no control over. And finally, on a really personal level, this philosophy can create a huge psychological weight. It can actually trick you into feeling guilty for your own unhappiness. You start thinking, if I hate my situation, does that mean I'm weak or I'm failing? But here's the thing, that discontent, it's not a weakness.
That is often the engine of all progress. Frustration, anger, that feeling that this isn't right, that's what fuels breakthroughs, both in our own lives and in society. Sometimes rejecting your fate is the most powerful and creative thing you can possibly do.
So where does that leave us? Is Amor Fati just a flawed idea we should toss out? Not so fast. What if we don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater? What if we could take its strengths and combine them with the power of resistance? This brings us to a much stronger alternative, a hybrid model of Amor Fati plus strategic defiance.
Think of it like a two-step dance with reality. Step 1, radical acceptance. You look at the situation for exactly what it is. No sugarcoating it, no illusions. You just say, okay, this is the hand I've been dealt. But then, and this is the key, you move to step 2, strategic defiance. You say, all right, given these cards, how am I going to play this hand to win?
So the formula is simple, but it is incredibly powerful. You take a clear-eyed acceptance of the facts on the ground, and you add a stubborn refusal to be limited by them. And that combination is what creates what you could call adaptive power. It's the ability to work with reality, not just bang your head against it, to create real change. And balance here is everything. Lean too far into just acceptance and you become passive, but lean too far into pure defiance without accepting reality and you just burn yourself out fighting battles you can't win. The magic, the real power, happens in that calibrated sweet spot right in the middle. Okay, this all sounds great in theory, but how do we actually use this in our own lives? Let's get practical and look at a framework for putting this hybrid model to work. Let's take a common challenge, intense stress at work. A pure Amor Fati mindset might just lead you to say, well, this stress is my fate, I accept it. But the hybrid model asks a much more powerful question. It asks, how can I use this stress? How can I leverage this difficult environment to build a rare kind of resilience that will actually serve me later? See the difference? The stress isn't just something to be endured. It becomes leverage. And this isn't some new age idea. History is full of people who lived this balance. Nelson Mandela accepted the brutal reality of his prison cell, but used that reality to strategically defy apartheid. Marie Curie accepted the immense barriers for women in science and then just relentlessly worked around them. They didn't love their suffering, they used it. So here is a simple framework you can use anytime you're up against a challenge. First, ask yourself, what here is completely outside of my control? Accept that fully, stop wasting energy on it. Second, ask, what can I influence? That is where you apply intelligent defiance. And finally, the crucial third step. Ask yourself where your efforts will have the biggest impact, the highest leverage. That's where you focus all your energy. In the end, your past, with all of its struggles and all of its triumphs, it has forged the person you are today. That is a fact, and that's the part you accept. But the real question this new model leaves us with isn't about the past at all. It's a question about the future. Your past forged you, so what will you forge next?